Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to the One Podcast. We're so excited. Right now, we've got someone that I've been very highly interested in sitting down with, myself and Ebru. Um, it was just worked out that we've been able to have our first episode with this individual. So, if you guys have not heard of Andre Miller, aka the Alchemist, now is a great time for you to hear him. This podcast for us, we want to go deeper. So there's so much stuff out there about Andre, about the Alchemist 369, and we want to be able to go into those places that are almost unexplored. For me personally, when I go into a podcast, I'm always excited and interested in those podcasts that actually explore and discover those things that I don't already know. And I've had an opportunity of going through quite a bit of the Alchemist 369's information and seeing the various videos he has. So my goal is to not really go over areas that have already been explored, but to also uncover things that haven't been explored, and also know the person behind the Alchemist. Let's get to know the Alchemist, and know Andre Miller a little bit more. Discover who he is as a person, and his way of life, maybe even his diet, things of that nature. But I'm just excited. I really am. This is. I've always been encouraged to go into a podcast, and I've been like, I don't want to do it. But for me, this subject right now, that what we're talking about, I feel like there's nothing greater that we need to be talking about on Earth. If what we're discovering within humanity consciousness is what is happening. So what else, anything else for me is basically a distraction. So for me, having this platform, having this podcast, and having this specific person, this individual, is definitely a highlight for me already. And it's an honor, Andre, just to have you here as our first episode. I was just going through my notes, pulling up the podcast, and I saw that I wrote down, I think on the 13th of August, send the Alchemist a message, and I wanted to send an invite to you as well as Bam. And it just so happened, it just connected. We end up randomly kind of connecting through tagging you, following us, reaching out, and you saying, "Hey, I'm free this Thursday, our first available day of the
Yeah.
podcast." You stepped in, and I believe we just spoke to you this week. So for you to be available this week, we're truly honored, truly thankful, and welcome, Alchemist, to the podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I highly appreciate, I don't take this lightly. It's an honor to be here and speak with you guys. I love your energy. I love what you guys are about. And you said it, man. There's nothing greater than this. This is why we call this the great work. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And the one thing I wanted to kick this off with, Andre, is like I said, for me, it's always about discovering, uh, something more, something else. So I always want to, allow you to have the platform to express, but I also want to know, is there any type of message, one message that you feel right now that you haven't shared, or any subject or topic that you haven't explored on other interviews or other podcasts that you feel like, this is probably something that we should be going into? Or do you feel like there's something that you want to maybe, you know, touch on a little bit more?
Um, Something that I haven't shared in another interview. Not necessarily, but I will say that I just did a video, so this topic is fresh on my mind, and it is perceptional truths versus the ultimate truth, right? And
Mm.
I feel like this is important for people because a lot of times there's a lot of misconceptions here on Earth, specifically with this information as well. With the other side, there's even misdirections amongst the awakened community. So what I do and what I take pride in, and certainly everybody that comes under, Darius, like I did, we take pride in integrity and truth. And integrity and truth is of the highest honor and of most importance. And when I say truth, I mean the ultimate truth, because there's a lot of perceptional based truths and perceptional based wisdom as well. But there's also an ultimate truth, a fundamental truth to all things, to all creation, you know. And that's what I try to do. So the information that I deliver, to the best of my ability, anyways, I try to ensure that it comes through clear and direct, undistorted from my own beliefs, own perceptions, and just for exactly what it is that I've seen. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. And then when you talk about those two different truths, is there anything that's sticks out to you that's kind of wild from what you're seeing, and then kind of the misperceptions or misconceptions that are out there within the awakened community?
Yeah. So in the awakened community, one misconception is that this is probably the biggest one, is that when you awaken or you cross over to the other side, that you aren't worthy until you reach a certain level of consciousness.
Mm.
Like you have to go through levels, or like you're not your ultimate authority. And that's why I say the ultimate truth is that you are your ultimate authority. This is the ultimate truth. If you want to do something, on the other side, when you cross over, or even here, you do it. You don't. The only thing that can stop you is your belief system. The only way to control somebody is to make it believe something. The only way to entrap a soul is to make it believe something, right?
Wow.
So that's a common misconception, and I've seen this over and over again. Even in the law of one, that was very, something that was very talked about in the spiritual community, where a lot of people reach that and they may feel like, oh, this is the end of the line. But it's
Hmm.
not, because they talk about forced reincarnation and how you have to elevate to get out of somewhere. Now, that may be true if you believe that. But the
Hmm.
ultimate truth is you don't have to do any of that. You are
Wow.
your own person. You are your own authority. So that's what I mean about perceptional truths and the ultimate truths. Um, and this comes from direct experience, with the other side. Like, how do I know we're our ultimate authority? Because I've done things, I've gone places, I've left the construct, while I'm still alive. So if you can
Hmm.
do that while you're still alive, you can certainly do that when you're not. uh, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That for me is one of the most important things, man, is everybody being able to get out of their body, man. I just feel like it's so essential because it's like you got to be able to know the truth for yourself, and
yeah,
that's really my hope, and what I see, what I envision is just humanity coming to that place where we all just understand the technology of our bodies much more, and the capabilities and the abilities of just stepping outside of our bodies. That this isn't something that
yeah,
just one person can do, one type of person can do, that is accessible to all of us. And I've been trying to get out of my body for some time. I actually been out of my body when I was in the Middle East. I had a crazy experience, but I was telling everybody, after it, I'm like, man, I was out of my body. I was experiencing the ceiling, like as I was floating up, the ceiling was like I could feel how cold it was, like from the AC passing on it. I can almost like feel or smell the dust. I was just telling everybody how graphic it was as I was going through, and then I just started screaming like a little girl, man. As soon as I started going through like the ceiling, and then as I was screaming like ah, I was trying to go high pitch. I needed something to hear me, you know.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
for real, man. I was on that Mariah
yeah.
Carey. And as I was screaming out, my body started going back down into, my spirit started going back down to my body, my consciousness. And I just remember that being so real. And I was telling everybody about it, So after kind of like this phase of my life, really getting deeply awakened last year with the Stargate stuff that started coming out, with the CIA being declassified, it's just changed me into a whole different place, man. And I
Yeah.
recently feel like I went out of my body not too long ago, really practicing it in my bed, and it kind of like popped up out of my ceiling, and then I was in some hallway. But those have been the two detailed experiences that I've really had with it. I really want to go deeper, I've been going into it, so that's why me having this interest of sitting down with you so high, because I believe this is just such a high importance. And I've
Yeah.
also studied too. Are you familiar with Robert Monroe, the Monroe Institute?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, they've got a lot of Explorer tapes on YouTube as well. So I've listened to so many of those Explorer tapes that are basically the recordings of them out of body. When they're asking questions
Oh,
and
really?
oh
Yeah.
yeah, and I've listened to so many of those. And one of them, I believe it was one of the girls. They have a number of explorers that do it, but she mentions she gets pulled out of her body by like her soul group, like a member from her soul group was basically helping her get out of her body in the beginning. So my question would be: is that something that you would be able to help with? Have you experienced that or explored that capability of like being able to assist? Because holla at your boy, man, if you if you can.
So me personally, I have not tried to pull anybody out of their body,
Okay.
but I have noticed that it's under my impression that when you try to take a soul out of the body, the if you try to do it when that body is not fully shut down or in sleep paralysis, that magnetic pull of the soul to the body is going to be so strong. And I know this because sometimes when I'm exiting my body, my head is a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times it's like the last thing to kind of like disconnect. So like as I'm pulling myself out, I will feel my head and like connected to the body, and it's like a strong force. So
Okay.
when you sever that, that may give a person a headache.
Yeah.
And I've heard even somebody said that they tried this before, and um, the only thing that happened was it didn't get them out, but then they woke up the next day with a major headache and stuff like that. So that's probably it's probably tough. But now if your soul on the other side, like you said, like her soul family was coming to pick her up. Now that I believe because the other side, you can know, okay, this person's about to come out. This body is ready. Let's lift them out, and
Yeah.
let's help them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe that certainly is possible, and I've heard countless stories of people asking for help, and then they feel a pull on their leg or somebody helping them. I've asked for help as well. Um, one time, this was a short-lived experience, but one time I asked for help and I felt somebody lift me up from my back and lift me up, but it scared me, so I came right back in instantly because like I didn't know it was really going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I've manifested one of my own thought forms to help pull me out,
Wow.
before. So there's definitely ways and techniques to do it, but the easiest and for sure way is to definitely just do it yourself, for sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I've had that experience with the head thing. What was that, Ebru?
Yeah, yeah, I'm just very interested because I'm a person that like this is very new to me, and Regina was the one introducing me to this whole AP, and then I've been seeing your videos. So a person that's like never even like I've never experienced or even tried yet, but I'm very interested now. So like as a person that want to start this or like the first time, can you give us some like like if I want to go out of my body right now, or like let's say it's like when I'm going to sleep now, I want to go out of my body. Is there anything like anything I can do, or like what's the best thing to do if I want to go out of my body?
So the best thing to do to go out of your body, I would definitely say, is to join Darius's community, and get that solid understanding, that solid teaching, that solid foundation under you, and then go that route for sure. Um, that's the most solid way. Like I've done the gateway tapes, I've tried, I've done it, and I was able to leave, in 5 to 10 minutes after successfully completing the gateway tapes. I was able to leave astral project so strong to the point where I was actually having a full-blown out-of-body experience. I just didn't know it was happening yet. And
Wow.
but the thing with that is you don't have the all the context and information and to do it safely and to know to do it the right way, I would say. So I would highly just suggest to go that route for sure.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that. me seeing a lot of Darius's stuff online just seems very sound. And I feel like one of the key things that he really emphasizes is, you are safe. That you are the authority. That you're not, as you've mentioned as well, Alchemist.
Yeah.
That don't be respectful. But not submissive.
Yeah.
You're out there. I
Yeah.
think it's essential.
I will say, and to answer your question again, Ebru, I will add to just know to touch on what you said as well about being safe. I will also add know this one fundamental truth that there is nothing to fear besides fear itself, right? So if you have all of your thought forms in check, meaning all of your belief systems are out the door, and you've cleared your field, all of your demons, you could say, you cleaned out your closet, that will help. And to know that you are your ultimate authority and you are safe and you are loved, okay? On the other side, the you're going home. Like heaven is on the other side. Literally, the biblical depictions of heaven are on the other side, right? And that's not even the best place. That's just like
Yeah.
one of the places. That's not even the best place. So and I know that 100% to be true, so all of that fear, all of the fear, all of the scariness, all of that is like here. Just picture this is in the human experience, the body, right? As you cross that, all of the fear, all of the everything dissipates, and you're just home, and you're your ultimate authority, and that feeling of bliss and unconditional love will come.
Wow.
Well, so how often are you going out of your body, man? Are you doing this like every day, or do you do it when you want to? Like, how is it? How is it
Yeah.
happening?
So for a long time, when I was practicing his method at first, I was practicing it every day until I was able to gain control of it. And then as I gained control of it and started having bigger experiences, I couldn't even leave like back to back nights because I wouldn't even need to sleep after a big experience, or so it would just naturally have to take some time to die down. But for sure, I was leaving on average about 2 to 3 times a week. It got so strong to the point where I was always in this state, and I wouldn't even have to try. I would just go to sleep, and I'd be waking up in sleep paralysis, and then I'd use the techniques that I've learned and leave my body. Um, that was happening like once or twice a week, like clockwork, and then for sure once a week though, I would for sure get out and go really travel, for sure. Now, the state that I am in right now is I have a lot of changes in my life. As I recently just moved. I have a new partner in my life. Things are changing for me as I have a lot of things on Andre's human mind, right, that are here. But I recently just started getting back into practicing the OBE state. I now do it like 2 to 3 times a week. I try to consciously leave, and the other night I had success, and then last night again. So it's almost back to that point where I'm doing it at will, and very easily, because I like to stay in that state to the point where, especially for the type of work that I do, that's the most important thing in my life is leaving and going to the other side and coming back. So it's important for me to stay there, to stay in that mindset, all
Hmm.
the time. And me staying there in that frequency, it allows these experiences to come a lot easier. So yeah, right now I'm just working on getting back to that state, consciously, and like vibration, all of those things to be able to do it, without even trying, just basically staying connected all the time. But you don't have to do that. You can just essentially consciously leave and shut your body down, and it takes immense effort either way you do it. Either you're going to put that effort at a one-time experience, or you're going to separate that same effort and dedication over a period of time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually spoke earlier too about the head, because that has happened to me multiple occasions. Is the headache, like feeling like my head is sliding, like what's happening right now? But like, am I sleeping, staying awake? No, I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? Trying to keep my heart rate down, stay awake. You know, it's like it's creating this headache sensation that's feeling like I'm sliding, but I don't know, because you're in that state of drowsiness, sleep. So you just shedding that light earlier really helped, and then you going into your intentions and staying consistent and being able to do this. My next question would be, what do you think allows you to do it so easy? To me, it's easy. You might feel like, well, I'm putting in some effort, but to me, it seems like you really got this thing down and knowing when to shake in and shake out of that.
Yeah, yeah. So that it comes from. So at first it was not easy. At first, when I was doing the gateway tapes and that astral projection, it was very easy. I mean, as soon as I would put the binaural beats on, I was
Mhm.
feeling like I was getting sucked out and I was going. That's just because again, I was in that state. I was practicing the gateway tapes every
Mhm.
night, like literally every day. So once you're in that state, and I was also at the same time blocking out all external noises. Like I wasn't watching TV, I wasn't listening to any music. Literally, the only thing that my ears would hear would be people talking or binaural beats.
Wow.
Um, and I didn't allow thoughts into me, like anybody's beliefs. I didn't have too many conversations with people, only on a need to have
Wow.
basis. Like I was really in tune with myself for a long time. And then when I found Darius, I practiced his method for 3 months every day to then master his way of exiting, right?
Mhm.
And that took some time, man. That took dedication. And again, it was the same type of process. I blocked out all external things because, sorry, for sure at that point in time, um, it had became the most important thing to me in my life, right?
Yeah.
Because once you understand that everything here is temporary, and the only thing eternal is the other side. It's like, okay, this is definitely the most important thing I can do, right? Like this is
Mhm.
what everybody talks about. This is what Jesus was talking about. This is so like, what if you can go there? Why would this not be the number one thing that you do, right? So I had that mentality, and it was just effort, man. So after like 3 months of doing it every day, I then mastered the exiting process. Like I became familiar with every stage, the
Mhm.
vibrational phase, sleep paralysis, getting into it, feeling my body. Um, and then after that, I was just playing around with it and just, every night when I would go to sleep, I would just try, just every night. What else are you going to do? Just go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
you know?
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's really what happened. And then somewhere along the line, after I had a real big experience, I shared this one on YouTube. After I went to Neo Soul, that's where things became real easy for me because like I left this electromagnetic field around Earth. It's like I I don't know exactly what the field is. The only thing that I would know is it's a firmament, right? So once I left the firmament, and because I crossed through an energy field that was water on one side, water on the other side, and I walked through it. And on the other side of that, that's when the shift came. That's when I felt my soul's frequency within inside of me. And
Wow.
it's the most intense feeling that you can ever have in your life. And
Wow.
once I came back after that, it was very easy for me to tap back into that. And I
Mhm.
just stayed there, like consciously for months,
Wow.
and I would just leave and leave. So it's easy. And after that experience, I came back. I didn't even like the feeling is so immense. I didn't even like the terminology soul after that. When I
Mhm.
came back, I was like, I don't even think soul, I don't even think that word accurately gives people like what we are. We
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
we are
That's
God,
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Very,
Powerful.
very powerful experience.
yeah.
What is your
Because, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead. No, finish, bro. We got you here, man.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because that feeling on the other side, man, when you are in your soul form, it is
Yeah.
you don't we don't even have the human words to accurately describe it. The best human word that closely would match that description I have in my vocabulary is God. Like if you can imagine what it would feel like to be God, that's what it feels like being in your soul outside of earth. Like that's what
Wow.
it feels like. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful.
That
Yeah,
is
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you, what is your sign, like your star sign? Do you know
My
like your zodiac sign?
Oh yeah, I'm an Aquarius.
Okay, I was just interesting because I'm a Sagittarius, Ebru's a Capricorn, so we can see sometimes when we see these things that talk about your star signature, how I'm very much out there, she's very much grounded, you know. So I just didn't know where you would be in that, you know. But it is very unique that you would be in the water, you know, and people talk about you know how you can transport from different dimensions through water, you know. So you know, it was just a question that I had. Did you have a question
Yeah,
as well?
yeah.
Yeah, I was just interested because you're saying like when you go out of your body, when you travel, do you go to the same place often, or is it like how like can you say like before you go out of your body like I want to go here now, and then you're gonna go there, or do you know where you're going, where you're gonna go?
So yeah, so essentially, most times, 95% of the time when I leave my body, I will be in my room. Because you literally feel your soul leaving, right? And your soul's in your room. So as you leave, that's typically where I am. There's been a couple instances where when I've left, I was instantly somewhere else. But 9 times out of 10, I am just in my room. But when I'm in my room, it may not be the room that you see. It may be your dimensional space, right? It may be your own dimensional space, your own thought form. So the room that you are in may change as if whatever you're thinking about may be presented in your room. Like if you're thinking about changing, if you're thinking about building something, you may see that in your room. Like that's an example. But when you set your intention, you can set your intention to go places as well. So, like before you're trying to leave, if you set your intention and say, I want to access my soul records, when you leave, you'll be in your room, but as you start going out, like say you open up your bedroom door, on the other side of that door, you may be presented with a portion of your soul records. Or say you want to go to your heaven, same thing. As you open up your door, you may enter your version of heaven.
Wow.
Um, or, it's things like that. Now, my favorite way to leave and to go places, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with, but mirrors. Mirrors are portals. Okay. Outside of your body, mirrors are portals. Now, my favorite way that I have found is to set my intention before I go to sleep, right? Before I try to do this, I'll set my intention. And then I forget about it. And I just set it very strongly and firmly. I set that intention out into the universe, right? And that's it. And so it is, right? So then I leave my body. And then as I go through my mirror, on the other side of that will be what what I set my intention to. So
Okay.
that's one way. And then once you get out and you've been out a couple times, you can also not even set your intention beforehand and just set your intention once you leave your body. Once you're very comfortable with it and you've done this a couple times, once you're just out of your body, you can just simply command to go somewhere. You can just say, I now command to go somewhere, and you can be there. Yeah, for sure.
Powerful.
All right.
Powerful. And I know you just mentioned Alchemist that you just moved somewhere. Where did you actually move to?
Yeah, so I left America. I went to Egypt for a little bit, but I wasn't in alignment with the environment there. My intention was to stay there, learn and leave my body and figure things out there. But I left there. Now I'm in Europe. I'm in Europe for a couple months. and then after this, I'll be heading out again. But yeah, I'm in Europe now for a little bit.
Okay, great. Are you from the States? Is that where you originally are from?
Yeah, yeah, I'm from New York. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
from New York. Not New York City, but
Okay.
Buffalo. Buffalo,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, my dad was working out there not too long ago. I think he's in Rochester now. Yeah, he's in Rochester now.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah. Rochester's close.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So how do you feel because you've been in Egypt, Africa, you've been in Europe, and you've been in America. How do you feel those different country dynamics are? Are they something that you enjoy, or do you enjoy one more than the other?
So yeah, they all have their different energies and frequency.
Hmm.
America is, it's America, and I might be a little perception or have some perception based opinions on it because that's where I'm from. But ultimately, I didn't like the culture there, the working culture and things there. In Egypt, it was a very beautiful place, very very beautiful. However, the people there are in survival mode. You know, a lot of the people there, it's a very poor country. So they're in a lot of survival mode, but the energy there is still pretty great. Um, and then Europe, Europe is cool. It's got a different energy here for sure. It's a very freeing energy, and it could be because I'm just not from here, so it feels nice. But yeah, I've been to Switzerland, I've been to Denmark. You know, um, it's nice. It's beautiful. The Swiss Alps are absolutely beautiful. If you ever have a chance, go there, meditate in the Swiss Alps. It's a nice vibe for
Mhm.
sure.
Wow.
Right. How do you like Denmark?
That's where Ebru's from.
Yeah, that's what I'm from. I'm born
Oh,
in.
oh, you're from Denmark?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that Denmark was nice. It was nice. The weather is it's kind of similar to where I'm from. The culture here is very similar to America. People are nice and friendly. Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, great, great, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're from
Yeah.
Denmark, huh?
Yeah, born and raised in
Oh,
Denmark.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice, nice. What part?
Yeah.
It's like 1 hour away from Copenhagen.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
nice.
It's the smallest city, but it's very close going back and forth to Copenhagen. So yeah, I like it
Yeah,
here. But it's a small
nice.
country.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Everywhere in Europe is a small country. You
Yeah.
can drive. It's a couple hours and you'll be in another country. I thought that
Oh
was
yeah.
wild to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know that you talked also about things concerning diet. In fact, yesterday I had I don't know if it was a liter or something, but it was just pure celery juice. You had just did a post not too long ago about celery juice, so I was like, let me get some celery juice, and start
Yeah,
alchemizing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Start alchemizing, clearing yourself out. Yeah.
yeah. So I
So
would love for you
diet
to.
diet is very important, man. Here on Earth, there's an attack on the mind because the number one way to entrap a soul is to make it believe something. But there's also an attack on the body, right? And when I say there's an attack on the body, the food here is essentially poison. And they poison us with the food, and they tell us to eat too much of it, right? Like they tell you
Mhm.
to eat 3 meals a day. That is a
Yeah.
lie. In the human's original form, we didn't even need to eat. Like the soul's frequency was fueling the body, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then even in biblical times, when they were eating once every couple days. That's how come they were able to live so long. And there's tons of studies on this for people that still need, scientific evidence for these things.
Mhm.
Um, there's tons of evidence that the tremendous effects of fasting on the body.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when I was in high school, it was said that you can only live 3 days without water, and you can only live 21 days without food. Right? How come we have people documenting 40-day fasts,
Yeah. Yeah.
still alive, thriving, working out, and everything? Right? So that's a lie. Um, and if you think about it, if you're coming from that mindset, who would try that? Oh, you tell me if I don't eat for 21 days, I'm gonna die? Like I'm not trying that, right? But you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now it's important when I say that you eat too much, we do. So the best way to talk about stuff is to talk about it from my experience, right? Like my diet journey. So I went from eating 3 meals a day like most everybody else, and then I got wind of, oh, we're eating too much, and try intermittent fasting. So I would eat in a 6 hour window. So I would eat lunch and then dinner at 6, and then I would fast for 18 hours of the day. And doing that, I was like, wow, I still feel the same. I still have the same amount of energy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
after a couple weeks of that, I was like, well, I wonder if I can just eat 1 meal a day. So I would just not eat lunch. And it's just as simple as, especially if you work a job, it's just as simple as you just don't eat breakfast, you just don't eat lunch. When you get home, you eat dinner, and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
And I was even eating dinner and snacking a little bit after that, in like a 2 to 3 hour window.
Yeah.
That does tremendous effects. That will help clear out your body. And when you do eat, it is important to eat whole one ingredient foods, right? And when I say
Mm-hmm.
whole one ingredient foods, I mean nothing in a box, nothing that has multiple ingredients. Like an avocado, what's the ingredient in that? Just an avocado. Steak,
Yeah.
what's the ingredient in that? Just steak, right? Or salad or fruit, right? Now, essentially, fruit is the best thing for the body, right? And there's many ways you can think about this, right? Fruit is the only plant or animal that you can eat and you don't kill the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that alone tells you that's what you should be eating, right?
Yeah.
And fruit has high water content. What is the body? Water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fruit gives life. We're electromagnetic beings. If you stick an electromagnetic voltmeter, I've done this experiment too. If you stick an electromagnetic voltmeter in fruit, it's going to spark because there's electricity in there. If you stick it
Mm-hmm.
in meat, there's no electricity in there. So
Yeah.
that's how you know you're not supposed to be eating that. Now, with that said, though, all the damage and stuff, it is, good to eat some meat as well. Or if there's people that also go all vegan, but research it and know exactly what to put in their body to ensure that you're getting all the nutrients and things like that. I was also taking sea moss daily. A lot of my friends, my one friend's from Grenada, he was making it himself. I'm from the black culture in America. Everybody does sea moss. Everybody has a friend that's making sea moss. You know what I mean? So I would buy the sea moss, and then I had another friend that was selling fruit juices. So like once a month, I would do a 3 day juice fast just to clear out my system even more. Now, going 3 days no food, that's a mental game, right? So I'm not a fan of doing something that's not necessary to do. If it's tough on you mentally, don't do that.
Yeah.
You're causing stress on your body. Like I just said, I eat once a day, but I did it in a way where it's
Yeah.
just natural for me. It's not a shock to my body. I can do it effortlessly. I haven't even ate today, and it's almost 7 p.m., and I probably won't eat today because I've had a big meal yesterday. I'm just okay, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's not tough for me to do because I've conditioned myself to do that. So when I would do a 3 day fast to really clear my system out, I didn't want it to be tough on me, because you're almost doing more harm than good if you're causing stress on your body or your mental. So I would buy juice fast, and I would do 3 day juice fast where I would only drink watermelon juice for 3 days or something like that. In addition to my sea moss. I was taking sea moss every day, just a tablespoon of sea moss every day. I was doing that, and then I even got some Shilajit.
Oh,
Shilajit is from the Himalayas.
yeah.
Oh, you
Everett
know
Mhm.
does.
about Shilajit?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Oh, you
I
do?
just did it. Yeah, I actually do. Got it right here.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. Shilajit.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
Shilajit.
Yeah.
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 Shilajit and sea moss. Those are two things that have a lot of minerals for us, and they're very good for us to eat or intake into our bodies. So that combined with eating 1 meal a day, that's all it takes, man. And just by doing that, you'll feel your energy rise. You will feel your need to sleep be less because sleep is souls don't need sleep. The physical body needs sleep, right? And we need more sleep now because of the mental stress that we're on. Like I said, there's an attack on the mind and the attack on the body. And we also need more sleep now because when you sleep, your body's healing itself. It's regenerating cells. It's doing all of that. So if the food is poison and you eat a lot of it, your body's going to need more sleep, right?
Mhm.
That's just a natural thing. So the less you eat and the better you eat, the less sleep you'll need. You'll have more energy. And people often will say, this is another common misconception. This is another perceptional truth. People will say, oh, I went all carnivore and I had so much more energy. Or, oh, I went all fruit based and I had so much more energy. It's not really that. Now, that is a fact. If you eat more fruit, you will have more energy. Or they say, I went all vegan and had more energy. It's not really so much that. It's that they stopped eating all those processed foods. So whether you're eating whole one ingredient foods, whether it's meat, whether it's vegetables, or whether it's fruit, you will have more energy just by not eating all those processed foods, right? Because what does processed foods mean? We can even break this down. Processed foods means it's already processed, right? So you're putting in processed waste into your food, into your body, right?
Mhm.
The body's natural function breaks down food. You have organs inside of you that breaks down the food. So why would you eat food that's already been processed, that's already been broken down? You eat
Exactly.
and you let your body do that, right? Um, that's another thing. So yeah. Diet is very important, man, for sure.
Yeah, but man, I heard you break down, man. On a video that processed food thing is like, man, it's like if
Oh,
people
I said
really
that
hear.
before.
Yeah, but now that
Yeah,
I'm so glad you said it here because I didn't want to have to regurgitate it. But if I needed to, I would. But that really triggered off a light bulb in my head, because we also had a meeting, not on the podcast, but just a meeting in general with an extraterrestrial being that was channeled. And he was saying some of the same things about what you're saying. Fruit is like the highest form, it's the gift from nature, why we should be eating it. And he was associating the processed food, calling it dead food. Food that is
it
dead, and
is.
the living food is what you want to consume. So it was like cool, but I'm still hearing that processed term. But when you broke it down, man, and was like explaining, like processed is waste. So you're putting waste in your body. You're putting the finishing product, which comes out in the toilet, technically. When you
After, yeah,
living food,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
So
already processed. Yeah,
yeah, so you're basically putting processed food into your body to be processed. So it's like, I'm just hoping everybody catches that because it was a huge light bulb for me, man. I'm like, man, why would I want to put basically waste into my body? You know what I mean? Something that's no longer alive, living, and it's already at the finishing stage. It's processed.
yeah,
So very,
yeah,
very profound and powerful.
yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you for putting it out there, man. That was an alley oop right there, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like it's so powerful, man, that you're able to access that knowledge on that side and really get the information because I'm telling Ebru all the time, man. I'm like this simulation that we're in, whatever this situation that we're in, but we're in a situation where we don't have all of the necessary knowledge that we need to be having. So however this has come apart, people have talked about prison planets and like you said, we're here to learn something that we chose to be here, but for one reason or another, we're in this situation where, some people are saying we don't need to have jobs. We shouldn't be having jobs to this effect. We should be working in a different manner, that we're in a high form of slavery in some sense. So it's just like when you see this level of programming that tells us, oh, we need to have 3 meals a day, or how somebody can be like, oh, I haven't even had breakfast yet. And like, really, they should already be understanding that, you should be fine. It's not even a day yet, but they're stressing out. So it's
Yeah.
great
It's a
that you're able to
mental
go.
game too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a mental game. Yeah,
Yeah.
programming, man.
Yeah. And let's touch on this prison planet theory a little bit, right?
Please, yeah.
So so they say it's a prison planet, right? Now, this is where this concept comes from. It comes from them believing things that they have to come back, right? That's why what I'm doing is telling people you are your ultimate authority. You are the ultimate authority. Nothing can hurt, harm, or entrap your soul, period, unless you believe it to be so, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you're believing that this is a prison planet, then that's what you may experience, right? If you're believing that you may have to come back here to learn another lesson or something, then when you leave, your soul is going to do that because that's what you believe here. Now, why is that? Because you would think that when you pass, everything's the same. That's not true. It's the same concept as when you leave your body, right? All of my memories don't come through. My belief systems, my thought structure stays the same when I leave my body. Whatever I'm thinking of when I leave my body, I can see that, right?
Mm,
Or the same way when people pass away. So your belief structure is the number one way to entrap a soul, right? So when
mhm.
people are saying, oh, it's a prison planet, they're really doing more harm than good because now they're making people believe that now that's in their subconscious and then that's what they're going to see. That's why I
Yeah,
hate all this new age stuff
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a lot of forced reincarnation. It's a lot of things like that. And if they really understood the truth, just leave your body and understand that you are your ultimate authority, and all of that goes out the window, right? All of that goes out the window. So it's not a prison. You are never in prison. You are always free to do as you wish. But when you
Mm-hmm,
believe something, then that then becomes your wish, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So just break free of all belief systems and you will be free.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's powerful. I remember listening to the one of the Explorer tapes. I can't remember who it was, but they when they're out of body, they're encountering different beings, entities, and they're having conversations as well with these beings. And I remember one of the advanced intelligent beings was basically saying, that when basically what you're saying, the belief structure of people. And they were saying that there are some people that will go to sleep, basically die, basically, but they were saying the term go to sleep and they'll stay asleep waiting for trumpets, like basically based on the Bible, saying there's going to be trumpets. So like they're saying there's a whole process of they'll just be sleeping, waiting for trumpets. And they said sometimes people will wake up, eventually because there's no trumpets ever come, so it's just very powerful when you said
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah. You know, yeah, you have to get out and do something, man. That's why, I'm really trying to undo all this new age stuff, man, and all these belief systems and give people the ultimate truth because the ultimate truth is you are free, right? And when you pass away, there's people that will pass away and they'll be lost. Like that's where you get the idea of lost souls because they don't know these things. So if
Mhm,
you
mhm.
don't know where to go, you might not even realize that you died, man, because there's no different. There's no
Yeah,
different feeling. It's like all that feeling of unconditional love and that ecstaticness that comes like once you leave Earth. But if you
mhm.
don't and you just leave your body and you don't even realize that you died, you
Yeah,
you might be talking to people and be like, why can't they hear me? And you might
yeah,
just roam around for a little bit, like, what's going on? That can happen, but that's why if you don't know, that can happen. As long as since we're having this conversation, and anybody that hears this conversation, that will
mhm.
not be their
Situation.
experience because now
Yeah.
they know, right?
Mhm.
Now they
Exactly.
know. Unless you hear this and you choose not to believe it, that's another choice as well. But a lot of times when the truth is spoken, it resonates with people. It catches something in their soul, and they
Mhm.
hear it, and it resonates with them. Have you ever watched something or heard somebody speaking? You're like, wow, it just resonates with me so much, and
Yeah.
that's because it's the truth, right?
Mhm. Exactly. And that's one of the things that we're so big on within one brand and the one podcast, but it's really spreading this truth, awakening people up, from the forefront, having messaging on the shirts that already engage you into the conversation, already proclaiming you are God, you are dreaming, we're waking you up, these different things that'll, what does that mean? What are you saying? But really being on the forefront. And I've told Ebru, I believe we're the biggest, most important brand in the world because there's nothing else more important right now than waking people the fuck up. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
I hear other discussions, I'm like, I don't care what you talk about, but we should at least be talking about this too. That if these
Hmm.
things are happening that are coming to awaken our consciousness, expand our consciousness, expand who we are as humanity, as Earth, and make us better, and release us, into our individuality, our authenticity. Um, we need to be at the forefront of doing that, and I just don't know anything that's more important than this awakening moment right now. So I'm very grateful that you've just for me it was like you dropped everything because you just made it happen, this week. But when I see other platforms just, or the news, just like acting like these things don't matter that we're finding out through science, scientific data as well. We need to be discussing this stuff, man. And it's hard for me to take
Yeah.
anything serious, when somebody's not, bringing this stuff up.
Yeah, yeah. This is the most important thing that you can do. Like I said, everything here is temporary, man, and everything here is an energy sucking. Like if yeah, all right, what else are you gonna focus on? Work. We all know work is a trap. Work is an energy sucker, right?
Hmm.
We all know money is a job is a new form of slavery, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Everybody can understand that concept, right? So why would you talk about that? Why would you think about that? That's important, right? That's feeding that system.
Exactly.
Talk bigger than that, right? Let's get out of there. Let's get out of that mindset and let's transition to
Hmm.
the truth, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's eat different. Let's do different. Let's be different.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are the main changes you have seen in your life after, you know, uh, going out, like after all these AP experiences? Is there any main things you have seen, big changes in your life after that?
Yeah, so yeah, there is. But I just want to say, you're saying AP astral projection. So, I want to clear this up. Astral projection and out of body experiences are different. Astral projection is not a full blown out of body. You don't have to shut your body down to astral project. You can just take your consciousness out, right? An out of body experience, you're literally shutting your body down and taking your physical soul out, the thing that gives this body life, right? And that's when things get physical. That's when things are real. That's when you're really on the other side. Um, but yeah, so after I've had an out of body experience, you know, the first thing that happened was, wow, I exist outside of here, right? And now that opens up my mind to all types of other possibilities and things, right? And then after you've had several big experiences and you see the truth and the evils at play here, um, now you just know everything here is a lie. Everything here, you see all the illusions. Everything is a show. Everything is a game. Um, that's just mental realizations that you have. Um, and then you start to change inside. You then start to move in integrity, unconditional love, and authenticity, and you want nothing else than to tell other people. That's the great work, right? Because then that's the most important thing to you. So it changes who you are as a person. And especially once you realize you exist outside of here and everything is recorded, like there's nothing that you do that other people on the other side can't have access to when you get out of here. Okay. Like, so like even behind closed doors, how you treat people, even your thought forms, how you think about people, like all of that can be seen. So that it just cleans you up entirely. You're
Yeah.
having positive thoughts all the time. Now you don't even think negatively about people. Now you don't even do anything behind closed doors that
Mhm.
you wouldn't want nobody to see. So it forces you to be authentic, authentic,
Authentic. Authentic.
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. It forces you to be authentic. You know, all the way through and through. And a lot of these people in the spiritual community, they portray themselves in love and light, right? That's why I say the love and light community is BS, because behind closed doors, that person is going to get mad. That person may cuss. That person may do anything. And guess what? On the other side, we can see all that. So
Yeah.
you may fool everybody else, but you're not
Yeah.
fooling yourself, and you're not. That's not. So why do that? Why be like that? And that's why I'm not for that. All that love and light, and I'm not for the. I'm definitely not promoting evil or nothing. But I just promote the truth, right? Because
Mhm.
unconditional love, you can still be mad at somebody, and unconditional, you can still have that, right?
Mhm.
It's that force, that feeling, right? It's not all gold and glamour. You still have
Exactly.
feelings and emotions as well.
Mhm.
That's just truth. So authenticity is important. That's why I say that the highest frequency of all things is a combination of three things: unconditional love, authenticity, and integrity, right? Because unconditional love, what does that mean? You don't judge anybody, you're very open, you're very caring. But unconditional love also means that you have unconditional love for yourself. So it doesn't mean that you're passive. You're not going to let somebody do something to you, because then that's not unconditional love for yourself, right? And that's why I also say authenticity, right? Because or integrity, because integrity means just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, right? That's another important one. And then I say authenticity because you have to actually be these things. If on the other side everything is energy and frequency, you can't
Yeah.
fake energy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you have to be uh,
Authentic.
authentic. You have to be authentic. You know what I mean? You can't fake that.
Yeah.
Um, so you have to really embody unconditional love. You have to really embody integrity. You know, um, you just have to do these things. And integrity can be also said, when you're leaving when you're going to the other side, integrity is another high frequency, because you're not even going to have access to the higher realms if you're moving out of integrity. If you're moving for selfish reasons or um, motivations, if you have any selfish motivations for personal gain, you're not going to have access to that, because that's all from a human perspective, right? If you want to do something for personal gain, you want to do that because you're conditioned to earth, right? You're conditioned for the monetary system, the illusion of control. um why would you do that? Like, if I just told you everything here is a game, and to get outside of it, you have to basically shut off the game for a little bit and go home, and then you can come back and play, you know and I really compare this thing to a game, because that's essentially what it is. Like, it's the feeling that you have out of your body when you're having a life review, or you're seeing your other lifetimes, and you have a big house. You're like, okay, cool. It's the same thing as if you're in Grand Theft Auto and you bought a mansion. It's like, okay, cool, but did you beat the game? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
did you do what
Exactly.
you were supposed to do in the game? Did you complete all the missions? No,
Yeah.
you got to cool. Like, okay, um,
Great
it's really
analogy.
like that. It's really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's powerful. Powerful analogy. I feel like the alchemist just became the pastor. Yeah. Powerful message, man. I mean, how,
Yeah.
how much do you feel that this has like become just such a high level of purpose for you? Like having this knowledge, having this information, like where does it rank and where does it stand in your life? Is it like your highest purpose right now of getting this information out, or is it just something that you just know people need to know, and you're still moving through your everyday things, or is like this is what it is for you?
No, this is what it is for me, man. Nothing else here matters, right? When
Yeah.
you reach a certain level, this is why the Buddhists say, you end all desires, you end all suffering, right? When you reach a certain point, you realize how everything here is fake and nothing matters. The only thing that matters is love and truth, right? And how you treat people, and the message. Once you realize that, you have no desires. Like, when I say I have no, like, I personally do not care about where I'm at. I have no desires other than to tell people the truth, to wake them up to the other side. Now, there is a
Mhm.
bigger reason for that. It's part of the great work, waking people up to the other side. In the spiritual community, is often referred to the Great Awakening, right? But
Mhm.
that term is kind of cliche. I like the Great Remembrance, right? Because it's not
Mhm.
the awakening, and you're just remembering, right?
Yeah.
You're breaking out of the matrix, right? It's to free people. Like, there is no higher honor. Like, if I
Yeah.
know all this, I know I can leave my body. I've done it. I've seen other lifetimes of mine, right? So what other reason would I have to be here on earth other than to tell other people that they can do it too, you know?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, speaking of seeing your other lifetimes, I remember listening to you talk about being in one of your lives. I think you said you were a doctor or something, and you were like, "Man, am I gonna have to go to work?" You said you were there so long. I'm like, "Man, that's real. You really in a lifetime."
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. When I was in Neo Soul, man, that first big experience I had, I was there for so long. And I was there for so long because I was having out of body experiences. I was doing all these things. I was leaving my body, but I'm like, I'm just sick of Earth. Like, let me just get out because, like, I knew I could at this time, right? So I'm like, all right. So I just had this strong intention to just get out and see something. So when I
Yeah.
accessed my soul records this time, I was so far out. I crossed that little threshold, went through the firmament. I was out, man. And when I was out, I was outside of time. So I was just experiencing this lifetime of mine, and I was there for, if the first time I was there for, like, it felt like days or weeks. I don't really know because it was just time doesn't really know, but
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
know it felt like weeks. And
Yeah.
then when I had that realization, I was like, man, I hope I don't have to go to work because I've been here for a long time. As soon as I had that realization in my mind, everything went I went to exit out a door, and then as soon as I exited out that door, everything went black because, like, it was like, because I that thought came in my mind, like, yo, I've been here for a long time. So
Yeah.
I went to come back. When everything went black, I knew I was coming back to my body, but I set the intention, no, I don't want, I want to go back. So then I went back to Neo
Wow.
Soul, and I experienced more lifetimes. And then that time it felt like I was there for
Wow.
months, man.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
experiencing things. And um yeah, and it's so like, your thought forms don't change. So, like, who you are doesn't change. So when I was experiencing these things, it was like I was thinking just like Andre. I was like, damn, man, I hope I don't have to go to work here, like like,
Yeah.
'cause that's not what I did it for. I didn't leave my body to go to work.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. We need you for surgery, sir. You're like, what, sir?
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So,
Yeah.
um but yeah, and when I say who you are, it doesn't change. It doesn't. But I've also heard people say, but it does change you because you've had all these experiences. So yeah, I mean, you learn and you grow and you develop after that experience, but still your thought process stays the same. It's just like you're going to school. You're gonna be you when you go to school, but after school, yeah, you're gonna change because you'll have more knowledge. But yeah,
Mhm.
you stay the same. Your thought process. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You give really great analogies. Did you go back in your records and see if you have had experience like being a teacher? You know, whatever it
No,
might be.
yeah, I haven't seen that. The only careers, because, like, to have a career, like, it's really like only here in, like, the lower realms. I've only seen, I was a doctor in one. Um, you know, I was always something like along the lines of like what I am now, something that's like highly educated, like an
Hmm.
engineer, a doctor. The other ones, I was a mechanic in one of them.
Okay.
Like building stuff. Um, and that's it. And in these other lifetimes, like, I wasn't on Earth. Like, the only memory I have on Earth is one other time, a real long time ago. Um, but yeah, these other lifetimes that I was just referring to, where I was a doctor, the mechanic, like, I was in Neo Soul. And like, when I say I was a mechanic, like, it was even more intense than a mechanic here. Like, it was a more advanced civilization than here.
Mm. Wow.
Um, so yeah, but yeah. So I don't have too many memories of Earth though.
Okay. Wow. So you think that you haven't maybe been here that much? Because I know they talk about not too many souls incarnate here. Also, they talk about souls coming here, for the Great Awakening, that purpose, or the Great Remembrance. Do you think that's what you incarnated in this time frame for, this specific moment?
Oh yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, look at what I'm doing. I'm leaving my
Yeah.
body doing the great work, right? you know, uh,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
did that after leaving my body and finding things out. So yeah, for sure. Um, but can I say that I've never been here before? I don't know. I mean, I could. I just maybe haven't accessed that part of my soul records. It's just at this time I haven't seen that, and I also haven't had any desire to really find out. At first, when I was getting into this, I was like, oh, I wonder how many lifetimes I've had here on Earth, right? But then once you get out and you see how much bigger creation really is, it's like I don't
Mhm.
even care about Earth, man. Like I'm there right now. Like I'm
Yeah,
already living there. Like I don't care nothing about it. Like all them other
yeah,
earthly
exactly.
lifetimes, I already know all the lessons that you can learn. You could be heartbroken. You can
Yeah,
be broke.
exactly. Yeah,
You can be
exactly.
killed. Like
Yeah.
how many more times do you need to be here to learn that? You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Literally.
so it's like, I just don't really have too much desire here. Um, and that desire, it definitely carries over in your soul because, like I said, you don't change. So I'm the type of person that once you experience something and I understand it, like I don't need to do that again, you know.
Yeah, yeah, great, great. Yeah, well, we've gone an hour, but way more than we planned on going. The last couple of things that I wanted to touch on. I don't know. Did you have another question at all, Abru?
No, I just want to know because earlier I just said AP, astral projection, and like out of
Out
body.
of
I thought
body.
actually it was the same thing.
Yeah,
So
I did too. That's
mention a
great to
little
know.
bit. So if you can go into like a little bit more into that, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, so um, that's what I thought too at first. I didn't understand there was a difference until I ran into Darius, but there definitely is.
Wow.
The out of body experience is the end of the line. That is when you're taking your physical soul out of your body and you are fully there and physical, right? So that's the terminology that we use when we say out of body, right? Out of body is not just when your consciousness is out of your body. Out of body is when your physical soul is out and you can touch things, see things, you can then go anywhere, right? Now, astral projection is just a lot of times just your consciousness out. Like when I was astral projecting, I didn't even realize if I ever had a physical body. I never touched anything and it was physical. That's when you see light beings and things because you may be out of the light spectrum still. You may still be like on the human side of the light spectrum a little bit. So you may see beings, they may appear as light, things like that. You just don't get the full picture. And you're also not 100% conscious either. You're like 75% conscious. It feels like you may be really conscious until you have a full blown out of body, and you'll be like, "Yeah, I was never conscious that whole time." This is this is real, and it's more real than here. It's more real than here. Like when I say I'm talking to beings, I'm talking to beings. I can feel their whole energy. They're communicating with me telepathically. A lot of times, you can hug them, touch them, feel them. You can taste. You can do everything that you can do here and more, right? It's like think of here as um, a light spectrum and it's confined and you only have so much ability to see and do things. But on the other side, as your frequency rises, you have more access to light. Now, why is this important? Because we know that everything is made out of photons. What are photons? Light, right? So light is literally everything. Everything that's physical is light slowed down at a certain vibration. So when you have more access to light, you also have more access to physicality. It's not just, I'm not saying you just have more access to visual things. You also have more access to physicality as well. So like
Wow.
light, we're in a prism of light right now. That's how come we're able to separate the realms through frequency and things like that.
Mhm.
So when I say light, it, it's everything. It's physical. It's what this whole simulation, if that's what the term that you want to use for it, that's what it's all made up of. So when you have more access to that, it's more real. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, powerful,
good to know.
powerful. Yeah. Yeah, so I was gonna end with this last question for you, Alchemist, and then I wanted to go into one other thing right after that. But did you have any other questions, Ebru? I wanted to,
No, you can go ahead.
111.
okay. I don't know if you can hear that. It's saying it's one one
This
one.
is a reminder.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay, yeah,
perfect.
yeah,
The angel
exactly,
number.
literally.
Yeah, yeah.
On the one podcast, it's 111.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign that we're on the right direction for sure.
This is a reminder. It's 111. Fun. This is a reminder. It's 111. Fun. This is a reminder. It's one.
Yeah, and then the question I want to ask you is that what would your one message be if this was to be like your last transmission, for whatever, reason, but we're not saying that this is going to be your last transmission, many more, but just with that that level of heaviness, in answering the question, that if this was your last message or your one message, what would it be that you'd want to let people know or communicate?
All right. Well, one message would be open up your mind, right? Don't believe anything here because I can promise you it is a lie. Open up your eyes and get out and see the truth for yourself and understand these fundamental truths. You are eternal. You are your ultimate authority. There is nothing to ever fear. And above all, you are loved beyond words. And that would be it.
Powerful, powerful, very well said. And the last thing that I wanted to do before we tell people how they can find you is really what we do within our team is we go into like a state of meditation, and we basically say what we see, and you know, sometimes team members may just sit along and just observe, just allow their energy to be present, in agreement. Other times they may say something that they see, So what we really just want to do is just use this space, use this moment to co-create collectively, uh, not just the three of us, but also the viewers into this earth that we see. And really just going into this place and this space right now as we just take a breath, going into ourself, keeping our eyes open or closed, into our breathing, and just knowing the special time that we have had here with one another, understanding that we are all one, from one source, one energy source, and that we're also our individual unique selves at the same time. And what I see right now is just a harmony within the world. I see a golden white glow around the earth. I see a harmony within humanity that just allows us to communicate freely with one another, communicate in love, communicate in that integrity that we mentioned earlier, that authenticity. I see more happiness coming. I see more happiness happening. I see a great relationship with the planet. I see a great relationship with the earth. I see a number of great different things right now that I see. I feel the energy of the sky. The sky is clean, the water is clean, the land is clean and respected. I see that we respect each other, our individuality. We hear each other. I see a world where we're not quick to blame, to accuse, to curse. I see a peaceful, energy abundant world. I see people all over the earth having purpose, having fire and desire in their heart that's being fulfilled. I see a high level of just positivity. I see this awakening and a remembrance happening where people are just coming into their strength. People are lighting up with the highest level of light. They're lighting up with the highest level of shine within themselves. I see people just coming back into themselves. The remembrance, you know, what it is that the three of us are here to do is to bring this remembrance. I see us being guided, by our highest selves. I see us being guided by our true purpose. I see just a humanity that is just awakened, that we are part of this all of us watching, the three of us here, and raising the vibration that humanity is achieving its highest potential with the earth. I see these things. just the peaceful. I see the peacefulness. I see the passion-filled earth, rejuvenated, with the passion of the people. I feel the earth's vibration just being so happy. There's a happiness to the earth. There's a harmoniousness to the earth. That we're all being unveiled, that we're all being revealed to our greatest self. That we're all in connection, that we all have the ability to hold hands in unity. I see so much unity. I see so much peace. And so it is. And this is what
So
I
it
see.
is.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of that and your energy, the both of you, all of you watching. I believe this is just an important time as we all come together to co-create collectively the world that we want to see. And as you mentioned, Andre, earlier, there are no closed doors. You can believe that there are, but on the other side, everybody's looking at you, So um, it's
Yeah.
just such a great time to what it is that we want to see. Maybe what I want to see, you as the viewer, you, Andre, Ebru, you guys don't want to see. But for me, just being authentic in what I want to see in the world that we're creating, this is something that we're creating collectively together. And I'm grateful for you, Alchemist, and you, Ebru, just to be here and co-create, this episode 1 of the One podcast. We had the perfect timing at 10:11. 111 come on. And just to close out, Andre, where can people find you, the Alchemist 369?
Yeah, just thealchemist369.com.
Okay, alchemist369.com. Also check out Andre on YouTube, Instagram. He's very consistent in posting content. In fact, that's where I found Andre at, was YouTube. Very much a wealth of knowledge. I know that you were doing a podcast. I had somebody recently tell me in the comments that you stopped doing the podcast. Is that the truth, or I assume it is. It's one
Yeah.
of your community members.
Yeah. I stopped doing the podcast. Yeah. It just wasn't in alignment for me to be interviewing with people. I feel like my message was better delivered as being the one being interviewed.
Yeah.
So, that was more so why.
Okay, great, great. Yeah. So I didn't want to direct people to that, but I was just informed. I think yesterday I heard about that. So it's great to confirm with you that that is the case. But again, so much information on the Alchemist 369 on YouTube. So please, everyone, I'm telling you, check it out. It's life changing. Is there anything that you wanted to say, Alchemist?
Yeah, I just want to say, all my links are on the website. So, my YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, they're all there.
Yeah, and we'll also be sure to put those things in the description as well for you. I mean, like I said, this is the most important thing for me to be out there. So to me, you're one of the most important people, in the world. That you were one of the people that got me excited to even start this podcast. I was like, man, I'm not trying to do
That's
a
so
podcast.
beautiful, man.
Yeah, I had
Mhm.
no desire to do a podcast. You know, boom, see the Alchemist. Saw you, bam, Corey talking. All of a sudden, you guys just kind of fell out of the sky, literally. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, man, I gotta talk
Yeah,
to these
man.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man. That's what it's about, man. Igniting that spark within you so you can then become a flame yourself. That's what it's
yeah,
about.
that's
Wow.
very powerful, man. And I really think it's great to end it on that note, man, on that
Yeah.
message. I definitely want to let you guys go. And I'm going to talk to the Alchemist a little bit after this, but it's been great talking to you guys. We really appreciate your time. Over and out. This is the One Podcast. Take
You.
care. TOP,
The One
the One
Podcast.
Podcast.